Disclaimer: the following video contains an organized and objectified remix music tier list from the Super Smash Bros. Series. It contains provoking thoughts and concerns from each remix in the games, all coming from this one random guy on the internet. Music is subjective, so not everyone's thoughts and lists might match with myself and others, so please take this into consideration. There will be anger, rage, and a tiny hint of salt, so watch at your own risk. If you do enjoy this video, however, go ahead and give it a like and share it amongst your peers. And why not go ahead and comment on why my tier list is so bad and why my choices were not to your liking. I would love to see what you have to say after watching this video. All things considered, I do really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen in on what I have to say in this video. Now, without further ado, make sure you are in a comfy position with your headphones on. It's time for me to showcase the best of the best remixes that the Super Smash Bros. Series has to offer to you all. Please enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, it is time for the top 25 best Smash remixes of all time. Get ready for the amount of glazing that I'm going to be putting up for every single remix in this video. Kicking us off is the last Banjo-Kazooie remix to talk about on the tier list, this one being the main theme of the first game in the series, Banjo-Kazooie. This theme is played at the opening cutscene for the game, where the main characters of the game play unique instruments, such as Banjo playing, well, the banjo, and Kazooie who is, playing the kazooie. Yeah, I don't make the names for these characters, but it's fitting nonetheless. We also have a flute, a xylophone, tuba, and a fiddle playing in that original arrangement too, all in that old school Nintendo 64 compression goodness that we know and love. The Smash remix takes it up a notch while keeping those same instruments from the original song, but drastically increasing the tempo and being faithful to the original composition, at least for the first part of the remix. Yeah, this song repeats 3 separate times before looping back to this beginning. As I said about the first part, it plays the original song but with better musical quality from the Nintendo 64 version, with an increased tempo. The second part plays in a quirky hip-hop fashion, bringing in some electronic beats into the remix, while retaining the same instruments as before. And lastly, the third part goes into a more rock and roll style approach, with a heavy use of electric guitars playing in tandem with the original instruments. And what's even more cool about this remix that no other music piece in Smash ever has done is that the electric guitars from the third section actually keep playing from the ending loop to the first section of the song for the beginning measures. I wasn't expecting something as amazing as that when I listened to this the first time. Sheesh, this remix is awesome. It keeps that same Banjo-Kazooie style but spruces everything up to make it more modern and enjoyable to listeners all around. While I guess it could be annoying to some if you listen to the same type of melody over and over again, I think Masafumi Takada did an excellent job by not making it boring to listen to over time, making sure that the music is sped up significantly while adding really neat musical styles to this one small intro theme makes this remix such a pleasure to listen to. I can picture this song being at some random rodeo or party or something like that. It would be hysterical to me if a dude just kept riding on a robot bull while this is playing in the background. Again, I just have these really random thoughts in my head for no reason. Call me cringe if you really want to. But as a matter of fact, this remix does go really well in a Smash game due to the high intense nature, so it comes to no shock that this remix is deserving of a top tier status. I would assume people are still mad at me for not bringing Spiral Mountain up here as my favorite Banjo-Kazooie remix in Smash. But guys, seriously listen to this remix. This is perfect to be put up as a fantastic remix for fighting, as well as a great remix to listen to by itself. The Grant Kirkhope bias might make people a bit salty since Spiral Mountain is his one and only remix for Smash, but you gotta give my man Takada some credit. Actually, this is Masafumi Takada's last remix for this project. Like I said about him in a previous video, this guy makes some killer music pieces, even if it is sometimes a garbled mess. Regardless, I don't think any other arranger would nearly come as close as he did if someone else decided to create another Banjo-Kazooie main theme. You gotta give him some respect for him on that front. Next up is another third-party Smash arrangement that was made in Ultimate. This is Glide from the hit sensation Minecraft, and this can be played as a minigame from the game's Shrunk map, where you can zip around through the air. I hope I got that information right, but please correct me down in the comments below if I didn't. Much appreciated. The Smash remix similarly replicates the original music composition, with its use of orchestral instruments, as well as the marimba, which is the main instrument of choice for both the original and the Smash remix. While I will bring down the originality points just a little bit for the uniqueness factor, never would I have thought that the marimba, a percussion instrument of all things, is the main star of the show for a video game music piece. And since I am a huge sucker for percussion instruments, please excuse my incredibly biased tone for this explanation, cause hot damn, this shit is so cool to listen to. Man, I just love this music piece. The Smash remix also is more intense than the original, while adding in a drum set and bass guitar for some fresh beats, and more profound orchestra string instruments with a very awesome violin solo coming in for that second section of the remix. We also have an acoustic guitar appear in the ending section as well to make it very unique. Man, this remix is not only alluding to a very whimsical charm, but also it's got some great intensity to be used as background for some Smashy Bros. And it makes my heart flutter up whenever I hear those opening notes in the background for my Smash game. Love it every single time. Not sure why, but I feel as this is another one of those remixes where not a lot of people are talking about it. Whenever Minecraft music gets talked about, they always end up talking about Holland and Delarna. Like, yeah, sure, that remix is great too, but how can you not also talk about some other great music pieces such as Glide? This shit rocks my socks off. Okay, I have far too many great remixes to talk about for today, so let me gush about some other ones now. But before I forget, we do have one more Minecraft remix for the tier list to talk about, and you will never believe which one I have as my favorite one in Smash. You guys already know that I had to put this remix as one of the best to ever grace the Smash series. And of course, it is Michiko Naruke who remixed this piece. Just like Yoko, she is another video game arranger goddess that was sent down from the heavens to provide us with sensational music greatness. Sticker Brush Symphony, originally titled as Bramble Blast from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, appears in the Super NES game Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest, and displays in the many so-called titled Bramble Blast stages, where Diddy and Dixie Kong traverse through barrels to complete the stages. Just like in all of his other original compositions for the Donkey Kong Country franchise, David Wise is a mastermind when it comes to cool-sounding ambience music, which those original music pieces excelled at doing. Michiko Naruke definitely ensured that the ambience and tranquility of Sticker Brush Symphony was still present with this remix. The music style consists of a very tranquil orchestra piece featuring violins that, instead of using the bow of the violin to play the piece, are plucking the violin strings, similar to how it sounds back on the original song. Then an acoustic guitar comes into play as the main melody, followed by another violin to continue the piece. Both intertwining together makes this remix so impactful and beautiful. And then the ending portion of the piece takes it a step further, adding in great electronic beats and a synth to add a bit of satisfying intensity to the mix. First time listening to this remix back in Brawl Subspace Emissary mode, where Fox and Diddy Kong go exploring to confront Bowser, was just bliss in everyone's ear. I could see that if this remix didn't appear in any portion of the Subspace Emissary, that it could very well be a missable remix to remember on, and a lot of people would not even consider this remix to be super high up on anyone's tier list. Nostalgia takes a hold on everyone, myself included. This remix was great in Subspace Emissary, as well as in a random battle of Smash. While it is a great composition, I think I will gladly put this remix here on the tier list. It's definitely not the best to be played in a Smash game where you could go for something more gratifying and intense to be played in a more serious one-on-one fight, but I still hold this remix in high regard. It is such an amazing composition to not be put up on that high pedestal. I could go on for hours on how great this music piece is, but I'll cut myself off short and get on with the other remixes now. Okay, back on track for more of those intense remixes now. Besides one other remix I've left to talk about on the tier list, all of the other ones will be very intense for that one-on-one action that I crave a lot for Smash remixes. Coming to another SNK remix is Tarkoon and Kitapi from Fatal Fury 2. This plays when the player comes across the fighter, Big Bear, in the arcade mode, or playing on his respective stage, which is named Alice Springs in the game. Much like to the original, this is a very heavy-inducing hard rock composition filled with electric guitars, a bass, and a drum set, as well as a synth which you can hear playing the melody in tandem with the electric guitars throughout the remix. But like I said, the original theme was a very hard rock piece to begin with, so no brownie points for originality, unfortunately. And plus, this is another hard rock cover with no profound gimmick as well. But I will say that this remix took me aback on how good this sounds. I never really expected the electric guitar to be so amazing and chilling at the same time. The flanging and riffs that the instrument produces almost every measure makes me have an eargasm every time it happens. And off of a very first listen, maybe put this remix up as one of my personal favorites in the Smash series. It is also a bit faster than the original as well, with no slow sections or soft parts. So this remix really is all about that heart-pumping adrenaline action that really gets me going. I hope a lot of people felt about this remix as well when they first listened to this. Like, I don't think I've ever heard an electric guitar really do that whenever I listen to heavy metal songs, and video game music for that matter. Like, this shit is hardcore and it feels so brassful and different, and that's why I really like this remix a bunch. And of course, it's none other than Yusuke Takahama who created this remix. Dude was seriously all over the place with these hard rock Smash Ultimate remixes, and I thank him so much for doing all of these wonderful pieces for Ultimates. And while I'm here, I assume you want to know about the actual title of the song, huh? Like, yeah, what is a Tarkoon and Kitapi? Or should I say, who is Tarkoon and Kitapi? Well, you're in luck, because I actually have the answer for you here. Tarkoon and Kitapi are the two composers who made the Fatal Fury 2 original soundtrack, just a nickname for their actual names. Why they put their nicknames into this music piece, I cannot say, but some composers do that to their works, so I guess it makes sense in a way. Tarkoon's actual name is Toshikazu Tanaka, while Kitapi's name is Yoshihiko Kitamura. Tanaka sadly didn't make any Smash remixes, but Kitamura did. He actually only made one, which was preparing to advance from the Fire Emblem series back in Brawl, which I placed in rank 385 on my tier list. Such a weird remix to make considering he originally made these awesome tracks for Fatal Fury 2, but it is what it is, I guess. I bet some of you already knew where this particular remix was generally going to be on the tier list. That's right, Snake Man Stage from Mega Man 3 comes in at rank 21 on my tier list. There is a very good reason why it isn't much higher, but I'll get to that very soon. Anyways, this plays when Mega Man goes through Snake Man's stage to progress through the game, just like the many other Robot Master stages that transpired before. This time, the musical composition for this remix brings a unique orchestral electronic style instead of the usual electronic rock that the other Mega Man remixes for Smash uses. There are some rock elements such as the electric guitar playing key parts of the melody with a backing bass guitar in the background, that also provides a sweet-ass solo at the beginning of the piece. But the main star is the violin this time around, and it beautifully plays the melody all throughout the remix. And man, this has to be my favorite remix in Smash to feature the solo violin. This goes in tandem with another string section and electronic synth sounds all across the background that similarly replicates the original song from Mega Man 3, with an awesome electronic drum set rounding out the beat with this amazing composition. Forget the other hard rock orchestra compositions that Yasushi Asada made. My man Hideki Sakamoto literally made peak music with this interpretation of Snake Man Stage. Using electronic elements with a string section makes this so amazing to hear. The solo violin was perfect to use for this remix, and I really love the touches of that old school Mega Man feeling with the synth sounds to make it really authentic of that type of vibe. This remix has it all. Well, except for one key part that I forgot to mention. Just take a listen and hear it for yourself. God fucking damn it. Are you serious right now? No loop? Are you absolutely insane? Why Sakamoto? Why must you make such an amazing music piece and then ruin it with this? You seriously had everything in the palm of your hand and you just threw it into the garbage bin. It is super duper sad that this remix has no loop. I hate not having something going on in the background of my Smash fights, and this really just takes the cake on putting me into a sour mood. I mean, the intro to this remix is amazing, and I love that bass guitar solo the most, but it would have been so much better if the remix just kept looping over and over again. The last Mega Man remix I talked about, which was Napalm Man Stage, had an amazing idea of looping back with this weird synth sound that made the loop back to that beginning super unique and fresh. It was such a shame that this remix didn't replicate that idea. I kid you not that I literally had this remix at number 3 of my favorite Smash remixes to ever exist when I was doing my drafts. And then I remembered that there was no loop and I had to drop it down to rank 21. The amazing music is what's keeping this remix alive at this spot. I believe that this is the only top 100 and even top 200 remix for good measure that doesn't have a proper loop for the tier list. Very unfortunate. But even with that one major flaw, this remix is still absolutely insane and I love it a lot. In and out of Smash. I'm gonna go out on a whim and take a guess that Snake Man Stage is mostly everyone's favorite Smash remix as well. I mean, it was mine too, but I actually have just one more Mega Man remix left to talk about on my tier list. If it wasn't for no loop, this would have easily been my favorite Mega Man remix in Smash, but we have to move on now. Hope everyone can accept this placement on my tier list. Yeah, you already know I still had to cover some Fire Emblem remixes this high on the tier list. And it really helped that this remix is considered one of the better remixes for the series, to the majority of you out there. This is Attack, and 2 songs are featured in this remix from the first Western localized Fire Emblem game called, well, Fire Emblem, but it is normally called Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade for those who are not in the know. First up is the song named Strike, and is played when one of the player unit fights off against a basic enemy when it is the player's turn. And then the second song is Rise to the Challenge, when the army fights off against one of the many bosses in the game, resulting in a chapter end once the player defeats them. Funny how the title to this remix is Attack, and yet somehow both of these original themes were not named Attack to begin with. The title should have been named Strike instead, but I digress. Anyways, this is such an upbeat orchestral rock style arrangement for the remix's musical style. The original was pretty upbeat too, given that the songs are based on fighting in a duel, so this fits really well in a one-on-one type of scenario in Smash. The orchestra horns and strings are dynamic in the melody, while the slapping bass guitar and drum set take on a very uplifting beat which makes this a killer ride from front to back. This is a super electrifying remix that always keeps me on my toes whenever this pops up in my Smash games. This is also one of those remixes that pops up in the Subspace Emissary mode back in Brawl. But it's funny that I actually remember this remix more when this was put as Roy's Smash 4 reveal trailer. The trailer for Roy's character reveal was super well done, even if it's only showing gameplay. But I think the reason why it's so good is because Attack is the showcase song throughout the trailer. Damn, that shit was fire, and was super happy about Roy's return in Smash back then. But getting back on track with the remix, I think this fits perfectly well with that fight-centric feeling for a great time in a one-on-one Smash game. And this remix using 2 songs instead of 1 was a really good idea, since the old Fire Emblem music back in the day goes by pretty quick, so this remix isn't super boring to be played at all. So yeah, I think this deserves some high tier praise, but if you don't think so, then please see yourself out. Thanks. Wow, we actually haven't seen a Castlevania remix in so long. We only have one more Castlevania remix to talk about after this one, and funny enough that Yoshito Sekagawa was in charge of both of these Castlevania remixes that I love so much. But let's discuss Aquarius first, which comes from the NES classic Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. This plays on the levels Castle Courtyard and the sunken city of Poltergeist, when Trevor Belmont and his party must traverse the areas in order to reach Dracula's castle. Taking place from the chiptune music is an exciting orchestral rock musical style with the electric guitar taking center stage to play the melody of the song, with a backing gothic organ that resembles that classic Castlevania feeling. So goddamn cool when both of these instruments are playing together. The orchestra is in the background with a drum set and piano, so it's pretty cool that they are taking a back seat this time around, but they still sound very stunning. Aquarius' original score being a fan favorite to many a Castlevania fan, myself included. It's my favorite out of the original game's music, so it really comes to no surprise why this Smash remix is so high up. The melody is so mesmerizing, and the electric guitar player killed it here. But I also have to give credit to the organ player, of course. And the background instruments go to town, especially near the end of the remix when the orchestra comes in full play with a kick-ass guitar solo to loop back to the beginning. I'd be shocked if someone hates this remix. This is such a fire tune. In a game of Smash, it's so exhilarating, and out of the game, I jam out to this while doing menial tasks constantly, and just bop my head when that second part comes in. I say all this praise, but I'm putting this here at rank 19. Funny enough is that I was going to put this remix as a worthy top 10 contender for my tier list. I might be crazy to not put this remix up there, but I think that over time, the other Castlevania remix that I didn't mention yet is much better than this one. Yeah, spoilers, I did put my last Castlevania remix in the top 10. But damn, the first time listening to Aquarius was such a mind explosion of orchestra rock goodness. This was actually one of the first remixes I listened to from the new Smash Ultimate Remix lineup when the game was released, and I couldn't help it being one of my favorite remixes of all time. Okay, here's another fighting game remix, and the last Street Fighter remix that is featured on my tier list. Honestly, it kinda sucks that there were only 4 remixes that were made for the Street Fighter franchise, and that we only got music from Street Fighter 2, and none of the other games were mentioned. Not even Third Strike, which has the best music of the series in my opinion. Seemed like the Smash team really wanted to only put in that original Street Fighter 2 setting with its music, stage, and how Ryu and Ken worked as Smash characters. Even more unfortunate that the ultimate remixes for this franchise were misses. At least according to me. I know a lot of other people liked them, and no hate if you do like them. But I assume some people are scratching their heads thinking that I'm crazy by putting Ken's stage as the best of the best Street Fighter remixes. And surprisingly, I was a little perplexed at first too. Well, until it suddenly became one of my favorite remixes of all time. But let's get into the details first before I go any further. Like I said, this is Ken's stage appearing on Street Fighter 2, and this track plays on the stage being Battle Harbor. This Smash remix takes similar elements of the synthy rock style composition of the original song. We have the synth mostly playing the melody just like it did back on the Super NES, but an electric and bass guitar as well as a drum set are in the background to get that groovy beat moving throughout the remix. What's really cool is we also have a distinct violin and trumpet solo. I wasn't expecting those instruments at all during this remix, but it definitely kept the music super fresh. This remix is brimming with a lot of personality, and I didn't really notice that when this remix first came out when Ryu was a playable fighter in Smash 4. I honestly hated this remix when this first came out. I thought the synthy melody was annoying as fuck, and the guitars were not very enjoyable to me. I definitely dismissed this remix back then, but after doing this project, I don't know what came over me. Somehow it just clicked and it all made sense on why this remix was so great. I listened to this the first time in so long when starting this project up and thought it actually wasn't half bad. Then I put this down as a middle of the pack rank on my rough drafts. Then I came back to it and thought, you know what? I'm gonna give it a fair shake. I'll put it up in my top 150 remixes now. And then I kept revisiting this remix and it just kept going up and up and up and up and up on my tier list until finally reaching rank 18. Jeez, this remix is so fucking sick. The synth was the perfect instrument to play the melody, along with the electric guitar. The beat is fantastic and those small solos from the trumpet and violin are super clean. And then we come to the Crisis version of the remix, which is at the ending portion, and it has to be my favorite part of the song now since it is so upbeat at a much faster pace that you never want to let it stop. This also plays whenever there is only 30 seconds left on a timer in a Smash game, or when someone is down on their last stock, similar to how it was back on the original Street Fighter 2, which is a fantastic detail that I also stated back on the Ryu stage remix. Love those neat little callbacks from the original songs. This is why I love video game music so much. I really wish I could have loved this remix back then, but better late than never, am I right? Gladly putting this remix as one of the best on the tier list. You already know it's going to be a good remix whenever you see Kentaro Ishizaka pop up. This will be the last Star Fox remix on this tier list, and what an epic remix this turned out to be. This is Corneria from the original Super NES game Star Fox, and this plays on the very first level of the game, being Corneria, where Team Star Fox saves the city from the forces of Andross. This remix has a similar chiptunish music style that harkens back to the original song, but the remix takes it up a notch by bass boosting the whole music piece with its synthesizer this time around. We also have a fantastic electronic drum beat as well as an electric guitar appearing throughout the remix, while increasing the tempo of the song exponentially. Man, oh man, this was such a thrill hearing this the first time playing Brawl on the Lilac Cruise stage. This remix fits perfectly with the stage, zipping and zooping across the Lilac system while fighting against your foes on top of a sleek air fighter, and you get to admire the entire stage with its own battleships, asteroid belts, and other marvels to behold. Dude, Brawl was literally too good for us back in the day, and I thank Sakurai and the dev team for creating such a splendid game for all of us to enjoy. But of course, we gotta give it up to Kentaro Ishizaka for creating this sensational remix. The Lilac Cruise stage wouldn't have been the same without this stellar piece. And yeah, I'm kinda going back on what I said about the other Star Fox remixes. I actually do prefer the orchestrated music pieces more so than the synthy electronic music for the Star Fox series. I think the live orchestra makes Star Fox that much cooler to me as a franchise, but I gotta give it up for this Corneria remix by being super upbeat to listen to, by getting that adrenaline pumping action that you want to hear in a Smash game. So yeah, of course this remix is deserving of a top tier status on my tier list, and I'm expecting a lot of other people are going to think so too. Alright, final Mega Man remix time. And yeah, I didn't even put a Mega Man remix in my top 10. I mean, it could have been Snake Man's stage to get that top 3 spot on my tier list, but that small pause at the end of the loop really made a huge difference to me. But let's not get all mopey now. Time to talk about my favorite Mega Man remix, which is called Sparkman's stage from Mega Man 3. This obviously plays when Mega Man traverses Sparkman's stage to battle him and take his power to continue on with the game. It was honestly super hard to come up with different descriptions for literally the same thing for all of these stage themes for Mega Man. A total of 20 out of 23 stage themes to be exact. Technically, all of the Mega Man Smash remixes uses stage themes for all of them, even the medleys, which feature a ton of stage themes, but I'm getting too distracted. Hope I tried to liven up the descriptions a bit each time when going over these Mega Man remixes. Alright, now about Sparkman's stage. This is a very synthy rock style akin to the original song back on the NES. The melody both interjects the synth and electronic guitar to get this kick-ass rocking vibe, while the bass guitar and drum set moves things along in style for the background. The drums also double up, which increases that high adrenaline energy. This song is perfect for fights in Smash, but the reason why this is my favorite is that the synthy melody is perfect. I always like to hum or whistle this melody from time to time and nod my head back and forth. Just gets me in a really joyful vibe every time I listen to this remix. I actually fell in love with this remix back when Smash 4 wasn't even out yet. There was a Nintendo Smash Direct while the game was still in development, and this remix was used to showcase Mega Man's moveset. I still vaguely remember which move was featured on what particular spot the remix is playing at. Kinda funny how my memory works well with stupid shit like this, and yet I have no idea how to do anything in real life. Regardless, this remix was always a favorite Mega Man remix of mine. I will comfortably put this remix here on my tier list. But I find it really funny that the composer's Ace made this remix. This type of musical style is something that I wouldn't have expected Ace to actually compose music for. As you all very well know, that Ace really makes very authentic orchestral rock pieces for their original works, as well as some of their Smash remixes they produced. This seems like a remix that Yusuke Takahama, Hirokazu Tanaka, or Shoto Kageyama would make. Never would I have expected Ace to make a very synthy rock piece from the Mega Man series, but it was really neat to know that they went out of their comfort zone to create this amazing kick-ass Mega Man remix. Really sad that I don't have a Mega Man remix in my top 10, but trust me, the remixes I have left on the tier list kinda clears this one. Not a bad thing in the slightest, considering Smash music is just too good in its own right, and I have this remix up high to begin with. Sacrifices had to be made for the greater good. You all know that I had to put one of the most iconic boss battle themes in video game history this high on the tier list. Yes sir, the ultimate version of Big Bad Ridley's boss battle music from Super Metroid on the Super NES makes it to rank 15 on my tier list. This plays out when Samus confronts Ridley across the game, with the song appearing at the very beginning of the game, as well as his actual boss fight later down the line. This remix also features key measures of the escape theme, when Samus has to escape Planet Zebes at the end of the game. I stated this previously on the Brawl remix of the Vs. Ridley theme, which I had ranked at number 186 on my tier list, that Yusuke Takahama both produced the Brawl and the Ultimate remix of this theme, which is kinda crazy considering this is the only time that a composer made a separate Smash remix for a particular theme from a different game in the Smash series. Not that I mind at all really. Vs. Ridley has always been a staple theme ever since back on Super Metroid. Would always love to hear more of this amazing original track. But anyways, gonna go over the Ultimate remix for this theme now. Just like the Brawl remix, this is a very heavy-inducing synth rock style, with the electric guitar and the synths taking center stage as the main melody, with another backing electric and bass guitar as well as a drum set are in the background, as you can expect for a heavy rock composition. What I really love about this remix is that not only is it very grungy and serious, but it also has some unique measures of mysterious and alluring charm to it too. Some key sequences are very soft and cunning with the chime bells and the synth playing, which speaks to me that this theme is Ridley personified. Ridley as a character is obviously this big, ruthless, and violent monster, hence the very big and booming musical rock composition. But also he is very smart and sinister in the Metroid canon, being those distinct measures of the chime bells. It really adds on that Ridley is a force to be reckoned with, something that the Brawl remix didn't really do all that much. To me, this remix is an all-time classic. It's got everything that tells the listener that this is Ridley and he's out here taking names and destroying planets, cause he is that motherfucking dude. The Smash Ultimate remix has to be my favorite depiction of this great boss character, as well as it being really high quality background music in a game of Smash. The runtime is also much longer than the original Brawl remix, this lasting about more than 2 minutes, while the Brawl remix just goes over that 1 minute mark. So this Ultimate remix to me is considered the definitive Vs. Ridley remix in Smash. But I would also think that some people really like the Brawl remix a bit better, due to the nostalgia value of this remix playing in the Ridley boss battle in the Subspace Emissary, which is fair in all respects. I still do like the Brawl remix of Vs. Ridley a lot, and if Takahama somehow didn't make another remix of this theme in Ultimate, you would have very well expected that to appear much higher on my tier list. But since he did make this in Ultimate, my point still stands. Damn, I'm so happy he made this remix. So fucking cool. Another weird fact before I move on is that the Brawl remix of Vs. Ridley actually appeared in the reveal trailer for Ridley himself back when Ultimate was coming out. Like, that is so weird. You didn't want to use the new and improved Ultimate version, but instead resulted back over to the Brawl remix? I find that very strange, but maybe it might make sense. Possibly due to the Brawl remix mixing his trailer gameplay better than the Ultimate version. or that they wanted to keep the ultimate version of this remix a secret until the game was released. Which, if that was the case for the latter theory, that was possibly the best case scenario since I didn't know that this theme was going to get a new remix and was starstruck when I heard it pop up in a game of Smash. This is also Yusuke Takahama's last remix on the tier list as well. I just want to give him a special shout out because he seriously made amazing rock and roll remixes all across his many outings in the Smash series. Until doing this project, I never really knew about his works all that well. So I'm a really big fan of him now, and I'm excited on where he's going to go next. Really dumb of me to not put any of his remixes in the top 10, but I still do want to consider other remixes having more flavor of their personal musical styles instead of rock. So that's why I decided to put this remix here. But this was seriously up for contention for a top 10 remix on my tier list. Don't get that twisted. Alright, we are finally arriving at the final Melee remix for my tier list. And yep, you are seeing this right. I did put Slide as my favorite Melee remix of all time and is at the 14th spot of this tier list. You all must be so done with my shit right now. Like, yeah, this may not be the most loved or popular Melee remix ever to be made, but please just stay with me while I go down my script here. Like I said, this is Slide, and it appeared across the many levels of Super Mario 64. Most notably on Princess Peach's Secret Slide, but in this case for Smash, on the Rainbow Cruise level, since that level is a Smash Bros. Stage. This remix also plays the underwater level theme from the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES nearing the second half of the remix, and then going back to Slide for the loop. The remix takes on a very beautiful grand orchestra style with everything you can expect from it. Woodwinds, brass horns, strings, percussion, you name it. They even have a slick banjo and accordion solos at the end of the Slide rendition of this remix, to keep it really fun and eccentric. Oh yeah, back when I was a little kid, this music piece was my jam, and I loved to play the stage Rainbow Cruise because of it. You must remember that even if my taste in particularly everything changes over time, one thing is for sure that I will always be a die-hard Super Mario fan till I shuffle off this mortal coil. This stupid mustachioed motherfucker is my childhood icon and will always have a special place in my heart. This remix is pinnacle Super Mario goodness, and I will always have a fondness towards it. It is very fleeting and vibey and a great time to be had in Smash. I don't care if anyone thinks otherwise, which I assume people won't think it is. Sorry if this is such a nostalgia pick, but I do have one more thing to mention that cements this remix to be my favorite remix in Melee. Going all the way back when Melee came out, there was a CD called Smashing Live which features some of the Melee soundtrack in a theatrical presentation that was done in a live performing orchestra with a live audience. It's actually really cool that some of the music pieces that were produced only from a MIDI are now being done from a live orchestra presentation in this CD. But anyways, Rainbow Cruise was the last track to be featured on the CD, and hearing this the first time really was just an amazing feeling. I can't really describe it, I was happy and sad at the same time. Is there an actual name to that feeling that I just described? Anyways, once the Slide rendition appeared on the second time, the audience was clapping along to the beat of the orchestra, and I was just so enamored by it all. I really wish video game orchestras were a thing in the US, cause I would go to them all the time. That orchestra rendition on that CD really made me go, yep, this remix is amazing, and I will always consider it to be the best out of the Melee soundtrack. Sorry for bringing in something that shouldn't really be considered a point to be made for ranking a remix such as this, but I just had to. This remix is just full of life and will forever be my favorite Melee remix of all time. And the bullshit doesn't stop there. Please put down your pitchforks and torches, just be grateful that I put everyone's favorite remix as a top tier pick for the Smash series, alright? Can we all agree that this remix is amazing even if it's not in my top 10? Okay, thanks. This is a tough pill to swallow, I know, but it had to be done. So anyways, this is the great ultimate remix of Gangplank-Gelion that appeared as the final boss music of the Super NES game Donkey Kong Country, where Donkey and Diddy Kong fight off the sinister King K. Rool for, taking back their banana horde from him. Really? That was the whole plot? I mean, okay, bananas are a monkey's best friend after all. You don't need to make a huge iceberg about how dumb the plot is. Anywho, let's talk about the music, shall we? And by God, this shit is fantastic. Instead of a sea shanty rock and roll inspired music track, this musical style completely overtakes the original by incorporating a big band jazz style with loud and profound leading brass horns, primarily with the trumpet playing the melody of the song, with more backing brass horns, percussion instruments, and chanting across the entire remix. Jesus Christ, when the remix appeared in that King K. Rool reveal trailer, the internet literally exploded. Nintendo finally listened to the fans that they wanted him in the next Smash game, and they delivered it with style. We were all literally eating so good that day. This remix is great when listening to this in a Smash game, and off of it as well. It's just so amazing to not be considered a top tier remix. I don't think I know a single person that hates this piece, and even if I do happen to find a person that just doesn't like it, they were probably dropped as a baby, cause how could you not think that this remix is amazing? Even if this remix is really awesome, I still have some small gripes with it, so sorry for being a killjoy here. But what kinda irks me about this remix is the trumpets. I think they're just a little too loud. Not to say that they're bad at all, they really go well with how this remix is truly great in the first place. But at the same time, I kinda do wish that they could have toned it back a little bit. I can't really hear the background instruments all that much. The trumpets seriously drown out all of those instruments. They obviously are the stars of the show, that much is true, but it would have been nicer to hear those background instruments from time to time. Another thing to mention is that rap verse at the middle to end portion of this remix. Yeah, that was something that we never thought was going to be put into this remix. First time listening to this, I think we all thought, wait, seriously? They seriously added this into this remix? Holy shit, this is the best thing ever since sliced bread. And yeah, this rap verse is really amazing when you don't think about it too much. But then again, I just find it a little weird and daunting. Like, what is this guy even saying? I tried to look up lyrics on the internet to find out what the actual fuck he was even saying, and I couldn't find anything official. I found 3 different interpretations from random people, and they each said very different things on what the rapper was saying. I ended up going with this random guy's interpretation of the Gangplank-Gelion lyrics to this video, but I'm still not sure if that is the correct version. It might all just be gibberish at the end of the day. It would have been a bit nicer if we could actually hear what this guy is saying, but it is still a neat little aesthetic nonetheless. It's also really cool that this is an interpretation of King K. Rool himself. I apologize if people are going to be mad at this placement, not being in my personal top 10. I seriously just think that the other remixes are better than this one, but you must be kidding yourselves that I don't think that this remix deserves any and all praise it rightfully should get. This is just a banger of a remix, and of course it was none other than the goats of Ace to make this sensational piece. This will be their last Smash remix on this tier list as well. I must also thank them for making just incredible music from start to finish, cause they really struck it out of the park with these last few that I mentioned for my tier list. Oh yeah, baby, this is what I'm talking about right here. Got another hard rock piece coming from the awesome Yasushi Asada. This is the Battle Trainer theme from the 7th generation of Pokemon titles, Sun and Moon. This plays when the player is confronted by another Pokemon trainer throughout the game, and must battle them to continue on with the adventure. Unlike the original piece that uses a synthy-like style with compression in mind since that game was made on the Nintendo 3DS, we have an amazing all-hard rock cover where an electric guitar plays the main melody with style, while another electric guitar, bass guitar, and a drum set play in the background, with hints of a synth playing key notes in the background too. So I'm going off of another whim here that a lot of people are probably sick of this remix. If you're not in the know and haven't been to a Smash tournament yet, this remix has the highest possible My Music probability tab when playing on the stage Pokemon Stadium 2, which this stage is used for competitive play in Smash Ultimate. And still, after 6 years later, not a lot of people even bothered to change its probability tabs in the My Music setting. Guys, it's seriously not that hard to do. Just takes a few extra steps to do this simple task to get different music to play on the stage. It's not rocket science. And yet, I kinda don't want people to do this with this remix. Oh man, this remix is so fucking awesome and I'm still not tired of it. From that dazzling opening section all the way to the end, this is heavy rock to the extreme and it means business all the way through. I just can't get enough of it. I know people are gonna be hating on this placement. I see a lot of people really loving the original theme back on the 3DS, and couldn't care about this Smash Remix rendition here. I, on the other hand, am the complete opposite and I don't see the hate. This remix is seriously my go-to song to listen to in car rides, shopping, working out, pretty much anything in my daily life. The electric guitar was the perfect choice for the melody and the backing instruments know what they are doing. When I first listened to this song back in one of the Nintendo Directs when Ultimate was coming out, I knew that this remix was going to be one of my favorites. Sorry, I just have a huge boner for this amazing hard rock remix. I had to put this as the best of the best on my tier list. This is going to be my last only hard rock piece on my tier list as well, so more stylish and unique tunes are coming up in the near future. But I seriously don't see the hate behind this remix at all, and I love it when this gets played in a Smash game, even when I'm watching it at a competitive tournament. I know I will have a good time when it shows up. And for some who don't like it at all, you know what to do, you lazy bastards. Wow, finally arriving at the last Smash remix to talk about before the inevitable top 10. And this is another all-around banger from start to finish. This is the boss theme medley for the Kirby series that appeared back in Brawl. This will also be the final medley remix to talk about for the project too. And sheesh, this is quite the list to talk about. We have multiple different boss themes from 5. Yeah, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Kirby games all into this one medley. The most amount of games to be featured into one Smash remix. This track is jam-packed from start to finish. Quite impressive considering this will be the final medley to go over. So let me just get it over with and talk about each one of them now. So, from the beginning of this remix, starts off with the standard boss theme from Kirby's Adventure on the NES. Next will be the boss theme from Kirby's Dream Land 2 on the original Game Boy. Third is the boss theme from Kirby Superstar on the Super NES. Then the one after that will be the boss theme of Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, on the Nintendo 64. Following up will be the mid-boss theme from Kirby's Adventure on the NES, not the standard boss theme like I stated at the start. Yeah, they are completely different tracks, And last but not least, the non-Squeaks boss battle theme from the DS game, Kirby Squeak Squad, ends it off, then moves on to the standard boss battle theme from Kirby's Adventure. Whew, I need a breather after going through that impressive list. I mean, who could have expected this remix to have an assortment of different tracks all across this one particular franchise? Now that I say this, it would have been so cool to see a remix such as Mario, Mega Man, Pokemon, Zelda, or even Pikmin to get a series of boss battle medleys to be played out from their respective franchises too. Maybe one day. But the Kirby series is the only one to do that, and now we are here to talk about it. Holy shit, this remix has that insatiable badass aura that we all just love to hear in a Smash game. A synth is generally used throughout the melody of all of these different songs, with some distinguished brass horns, electric guitars, and electronic drum beats in the background. It's funny that even how upbeat this remix is, all of these songs play the exact same tempo as how they were portrayed in the original games. Goes to show that the Kirby boss battle themes don't fuck around. Man, Kirby music is truly a wonder to behold. Gotta thank Hirokazu Ando for making such incredible music on the old Kirby games. But would it be crazy to say that the transitions from all of these great themes might just be the best part about this remix? Going from super ultra fast track to another super ultra fast track with a different melody that transitions well from one another is something so ingenious that I just have to give it up to Kentaro Ishizaka for making this breathtaking remix. Oh yeah, this will also be his last remix to talk about for my tier list. Man, what an absolute anomaly this guy is. Just making Brawl remix arrangements and never to be seen again. Just who is this guy really? I guess the world may never know. What the world does know that he made some killer Brawl remixes. I hope this man comes back one of these days to make some more video game music arrangements, because I feel he has such a knack of talent when it comes to hashing up some random music pieces to make awesome remixes for Smash. What's good, guys? Thanks for watching till the end of the video, and ha! Gotcha! You really thought I was going to make this section of the tier list the last of my video series? Nah, I really wanted to make a dedicated top 10 video for the best of the best Smash remixes. I kinda had to, like, who just goes down from 25 to 1? Crazy people, that's who. Well, I'm actually crazy enough to do this entire series to begin with, so I'm basically eating my own words at this point. Anyways, yes, this isn't the last video. The next video featuring the last 10 Smash remixes will be the last of the video series, and I can't wait to show you all what the remixes are. Unless you have been jotting down every single remix I've already covered and then listing the ones that I haven't talked about yet. Then that's your spoilers right there. But for those that haven't been keeping track, I hope you feel the same way about these remixes like I do. Well, now since this is my YouTube channel, it is now shameless plugging time. If you are not in the know, I have a Twitter and Twitch channel where you can see what I'm up to. I'm going to try and be more active on Twitch now, so if you're interested in my gameplay for various games and discussions on those games, then you can follow me on my platforms. No hate if you decide not to. But what I'll be doing on Twitch is that I'm going to be playing every single Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track online in one sitting. Yes, not offline, but online in an actual lobby, and I can't leave that lobby till I race every single track in the entire game, which is a total amount of 96 different tracks. Man, oh man, I'm gonna be putting myself through hell, but it will be a fun type of hell. I hope. I plan on streaming that on this specific date shown here, preferably a date where it will be after my last video's release date. So if you're interested in looking at sleep-deprived me, then you are more than welcome to join me on my perilous journey of Mario Kart. Alright, shameless plug done. Hope you all look forward to my true last video of ranking the Super Smash Bros. Series remixes. Bye for now, and take care of yourselves.